college football playoffs officially set. And on top of that, Travis Hunter, just heard about few hours ago, wins the Heisman Trophy. And then week 14 of the NFL is officially in the books, on to week 15. And also, Dennis Schroder is officially traded to the Golden State Warriors. And then on top of that, we got a Florida Gators athlete requesting, well, not requesting, he's entering the transfer portal just because of the fact that the school decided not to agree to the terms that he wanted. Reactions, takes, the usual, right after this. So first things first, let's talk about the NFL. Week 14 is now officially in the books, and yeah, some decently big surprises. But other than that, it was kind of like any other week. There wasn't really one game except the Bills game that really stuck out to me. So really, first things first. Let's talk about my favorite team, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Same score as it was 2 weeks ago against Las Vegas, 19-17. Patrick Mahomes, had a decent game, 210 yards, touchdown, but I wasn't satisfied at all. I get it, we're 12-1, but just the way the team is playing is just not up to par to what I think they can play like. And I really, 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 really emphasize the fact of having a secondary. I've been talking about it week in, week out. It's kind of getting the same. Joshua Palmer having 6 receptions, 78 yards on our heads. I feel like that should be a clamp. We should be clamping him up. He shouldn't be getting this many yards against us. And, it's the same old stuff. I can't really talk much about it, to be honest with you. Just poor performance, and these close games are going to get them in the butt pretty soon because playoffs are not that far away. And if they keep playing like this, I don't even think they'll get out of the divisional round, to be 100,000% honest with you. Bears, Niners. This was a butt kicking. 38-13 with the Bears literally only having, I think, 2 yards in the first half of offense, which was absolutely insane. And then the war crimes that were committed for the Bears offensive line, 7 sacks allowed, might be absolutely crazy. This was bad. This was really, really bad. And I really can't say anything else against that. 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. At least Caleb had a decent game. 17 for 23. That's not bad at all, actually. And 49ers, Brock Purdy throwing 325 for 2 tutties. Isaac Guerrero, 15 attempts, 78 yards, 2 tutties. And George Kittle having a field day, 25.2 yard average after reception. 6 receptions, 151 yards. And then Juwan Jennings, 7 receptions, 90 yards. They were scoring at all cylinders. I don't even think the defense got basically a stop that entire game, to be honest with you. And at this point, the Bears are 4-9. Their playoff hopes are basically gone. And they could be a 5-12 team this year. And just considering, I think at this point, just tank. You have a good team. You have a great squad, just terribly coached. And at the end of the day, if having a top 5 pick is still on the table, I say take it, because then you can grab somebody for your defense. And there's some big, great defensive linemen coming out. The defensive tackle, forgot what his name was, out of Michigan. He's ranked top 5. I think he's number 1 for this year's class in the draft. So if you get a top 5 pick, top 6 pick, you can grab that guy. They need a defensive tackle, a guy who can rule the defensive line, badly. Considering the first, I think, 3 to 5 picks are gonna be, Shador, Travis Hunter, maybe a running back, offensive tackle, and then a D lineman like him probably. So maybe having the 5th or 6th pick might not be the best, or might be the best option to get this guy, but they need defensive linemen terribly. And I feel like offensive linemen, yes, that's a very, very big issue that they have on their team, but it's not as big as that defense. I think They need a defensive tackle. They need a dominant defensive tackle, a guy who's going to a guy who's going to develop fast. And this guy's got a lot of talent. Um, so yeah, I think that's that. And Seahawks, I'm pretty sure I had the Cardinals winning. Seahawks winning against the Cardinals 30-18 with Kyler Murray throwing 259, two tutties, and two INTs at the same time. And damn, James Conner had a good game. 18 attempts, 9 yards, 5 yards a carry. I mean, that dude is just the most underrated, I think the most underrated running back in the league. By far. No doubt in my mind. Can't really say much again with that. I know the Bengals beating the Cowboys 27-20. That was a big game for them. Dolphins beating the Jets in overtime. I mean, just the battle of two mediocre teams. And yeah, other than that, there was Bills and Rams. I mean, that was crazy. I thought it was funny. Cooper Kupp had 0 fantasy points, and I know that the opponent that I was playing, which was my friend, he had Cooper Kupp playing, and he had 0 points. So I was very happy with that. Very thrilled. Ended up winning my fantasy matchup by 4 points. Absolutely crazy. I started the Bills defense that day, gave me -4 points, but hey, Brandon Aubrey came in clutch, giving me 11, which barely had me beat him. And Puka had me like 34, which was absolutely crazy because the rest of my team sucked. Brock Bowers, one of my highest scorers, did not score for anything. So I was very happy about that. So yeah, now on to week 15. Some very big games, a division matchup between the Vikings and the Bears. I'm going to keep going back to the Bears here. I think the Bears are going to win. I still am hopeful that they'll turn things around-ish, sort of, maybe. Especially against a division rival, anything can happen on any given Sunday against a division rival, regardless of if it was an 0-17 team the year before and they're like only got 1 win this year. Anything can happen against division rivals. I'm going to give the Bears by 1 point. I think it's going to be 21-20. No, that's too optimistic. 17-16. I'm going to give them that. Chiefs versus Browns. Obviously, it's going to be the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, considering how terrible our offense has been playing the last 2 weeks. I really hope this isn't a down-to-the-wire game, because if this is a down-to-the-wire game, we might as well call it quits on the playoffs. I think at that point, it's just not worth. It's not worth it. I mean, if we barely beat the Cleveland Jameis Winston-led Browns, don't even get me wrong, he's playing good, but he also throws a lot of picks. If we don't capitalize off the turnovers we are given, we might as well call our Super Bowl hopes, like, just kiss them goodbye, because it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If we play a team like Detroit or even Philly, it's still going to be bad. I mean, considering how terrible our offense has been playing in general, the line, just everything, that secondary in Philadelphia is going to lock us up. Okay? If we play Detroit, we have a good chance of actually tearing that defense up, considering their line is very dinged up right now, and I don't think that all of them, especially Aiden Hutchinson, he's probably not going to come back, but their key players are going to be back for the Super Bowl. But, yeah. And then the 49ers versus Rams. That was funny. 12-6. The battle of, that was a toilet bowl. Both the teams are mediocre, but the Rams, they have a pretty halfway decent record, to be honest with you. So, at least, that's that, right? Wait, Matt, if I'm thinking about it now, was Cooper Kupp giving 0 points last week or this week? Oh, no, it was this week. I totally got that wrong. That was a different player that had scored 0 points on my friend's team. My apologies. 0 points this week is crazy. Yeah. Puka had me 17, so I'm not even complaining. But, yeah. It's good. But the game overall is crazy. I know the 49ers player, forgot what his name was. He's probably a random anyways. It doesn't matter. He was like, I don't want to play. And He basically pulled in Antonio Brown and left the game. And I thought that was hilarious. And it's kind of sad that we're starting to see a lot more stuff when it comes to that now about total drama queens. And it really kills locker room morale too. Especially like a team like San Francisco, who's been known to be a powerhouse of a team after last year too. This is a very big disappointment, but they're 6-8. Their playoff hopes are dwindling, and they get one more loss. We will be seeing a San Francisco 49er-less playoff. Um, Debo Samuel's not been playing very well either. I really hope I people don't cut him slack. He's a hard worker, dude. He's a he's a freak when it comes to an athlete. People just have down like just downtime. Like I remember last year there was a little period where he was, he wasn't doing a lot. He wasn't thriving kind of thing. And it was only because I felt like they weren't getting him the ball enough. But now they're getting him the ball and he's dropping passes. These are the tiny little mistakes that he's going to have to patch up. He's still a great receiver. I don't think he's elite because of him going absent sometimes, but he's still a great wide receiver. And if it comes down to it, if I want Brandon Ayuk or Debo Samuel catching a ball that's a physical catch, I'd give it to Debo. Any day of the week. Just because of the fact that he's more of a physical player, and I'm saying Brandon Ayuk right now as if he wasn't injured. Even like I'm not saying that because he's injured right now. I'm saying that even if Brandon Ayuk wasn't injured, I'd still have Debo Samuel as my number one wide receiver, regardless of how good Brandon Ayuk had done the year before. I would rely personally more on Debo because that dude can make plays. I mean, he can make something out of nothing. Brandon Ayuk is that guy that you can have like a little lightning bolt, right? He's shifty, he's agile, he's a great route runner. But if I want to throw an absolute deep missile to my wide receiver, it's going to be Debo Samuel, no doubt in my mind. And I think people don't credit him for that. Yes, he hasn't played well, but dude, everybody doesn't play well. The entire 49ers team hasn't played well this season. So it's not only him, it's not only his fault, it's the team as a whole. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? And everybody's saying that he should be traded, he should be that's BS. I think you're full of crap for that. He's having a down he's just down right now because the whole team is down. The whole team is playing like crap. And when the whole team plays like crap, you play like crap also. So, I mean, I hate the hate that he's getting. But other than that, there's no other matchup that really is sticking out to me. Oh, Bills versus Lions. I am praying hard on the Lions downfall right now. This is crazy coming from a Chiefs fan right now. Where he should be hating on Josh Allen, but considering how many delusional Detroit Lions fans I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis saying, Chiefs suck, whatever. Y'all had one good season. That does not mean that you guys are the greatest team to ever play the game of football. We're back-to-back we're back-to-back Super Bowl champions, first off. They don't have a single Super Bowl in their trophy case. I mean, I'm putting that out there. Let's be honest, right? Yes, they're having a good season, but where are they going to be in the playoffs? You can go 0-18 in the regular season, and if you make the playoffs, that's a whole different animal. Whole different animal. So regardless of the regular season they've had this year, that has nothing to do with what they're going to do in the playoffs at all. Because regular season is just the exhibition crap. You can play around, screw around, do stupid crap, and as long as you make playoffs and go hard in the playoffs, that's all that matters. So at the end of the day, if you are 0-18, an 0-18 team that won the Super Bowl the year before and has been known to make deep runs in the playoffs, and you somehow make the playoffs anyways, and you use your playoff experience to benefit you, I think a team can win a Super Bowl. So at the end of the day, Lions getting knocked out, what was it? It was either divisional round or conference championship, whenever it was. Yeah, they have playoff experience, but they don't know how to win big games. I mean, that was shown last year because of the fact that Dan Campbell had made the moves to go on fourth down for those little plays that he could have chipped, he could have hit a field goal, and if they only got if they hit one of those field goals, they could have won the game. That's all I got to say. So with that being said, clearly there's a thing in it that within the locker room that doesn't know how to win games. Yes, they can use that as a past experience to better themselves for it, but at the end of the day, I don't care. Okay? They can go 18-0, but if they have no good playoff experience, they are not going to make it deep in the playoffs. They don't know how to win big games. Therefore, I don't think they're gonna make the Super Bowl. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna run into the Philadelphia Eagles, wherever that may be, divisional round, conference championship, wherever that may be, and Saquon and the flock is going to run through them, pick them apart piece by piece. They're going to do it because the Philadelphia Eagles have the vets that have played in the playoffs, have the experience about playing in the playoffs. Okay, 2 years ago, they were a dominant football team. Last year, the only thing holding them back was their defensive line in the run game. They fixed that. Defensive line is playing great. It's healthy. And they got Saquon in their backfield. And look at them now. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, maybe a top 5 offensive line. And then Saquon Barkley with Jalen Hurts Jalen Hurts and then Saquon Barkley standing right behind you. Especially considering I hope Saquon Barkley wins MVP this year. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. And that team, if any team is going to beat them, is going to be that team. The Lions, I think, don't stand a chance against Philadelphia. That's going to be a hot take, but they don't stand a chance against Philadelphia. That secondary can lock people up. I mean, Reed Blankenship, Cooper DeJean. I don't think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is really that good. Darius Slay, that's a killer secondary, and then you have a good defensive line with that. It can't get any better than that, and they are set up to win the Super Bowl. I think this might be the year that the Philadelphia Eagles can win the Super Bowl, just because of the fact of the underperforming Chiefs. But I'm still never going to count the Chiefs out because they know how to win big games. You give Patrick Mahomes the ball with less than 2 minutes left in the game or in overtime, he's going to make you pay for it. So, all I'm saying is you can't take the Philadelphia Eagles lightly regardless of their record. I don't care what their record says. Anyways, let's see here. Other than that, Steelers Eagles. Speaking of the Devil, Philadelphia, um, that's gonna be a good one too. But I don't see Steelers really. I don't see a close game in this. I think Philadelphia is gonna demolish them. I'm giving it 21-7. No, sorry, 24, like 10. I think that's a halfway decent score. And then Packers Seahawks. Shoot, I don't know. I mean, this game can go both ways. Both teams are kind of on the same level, I feel like, but I think I'm going to give it to the Packers. Yeah. Especially with Kenneth Walker out. But if the Seahawks want to win, if the Seahawks want to win, or if they have like a good chance, it's going to be off Zach Charbonnet. I think that dude's a freaking phenom. I think he could be a dominant running back one on any other team but the Seahawks. Um, he's going to be the X factor of that game. So, yeah. But those are my predictions, to be honest with you. Other than that, let's go to the topic at hand. One thing I wanted to talk about most is the college football playoff brackets finally set with number 1 Oregon, number 2 Georgia, number 3 Boise State, number 4 number 3 Texas, I'm sorry. Well, off playoff seeding, no. But yeah, number 3 Boise State, number 4 Arizona State, and then 5 I believe is Texas, 6 is Penn State, 7 Notre Dame, 8 is Ohio State, 9 Tennessee, and 10 Indiana. This is my prediction, all right? Y'all might call me crazy. Notre Dame is going to stop Indiana. Go against Georgia, they're going to beat Georgia. This is going to be the hottest take ever. But if Notre Dame's defense is on the ball at all times and their offense and their secondary keeps clicking, we could see a day where Notre Dame beats Georgia, and that day is going to be the second week of the college football playoffs. I got Notre Dame beating Georgia, and that's not purely off by, it's just clearly just looking at the team, how they're playing. They have the absolute capability to beat Georgia. The one, I'm going to give two X factors. It's going to be the secondary for Notre Dame and the offensive line. If the offensive line can hold their bargain, the Notre Dame will win. And then, yeah, I got Notre Dame winning against Georgia, and then Penn State beating SMU. And then I got Penn State beating Boise State. That's gonna be a very, 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 very hot take. But Boise State will lose to Penn State because I think Penn State overall is a way better team. I mean, Boise State is just Ashton Jeanty and friends. That's all it is. And as long as Penn State stops the run game, they're going to demolish Boise State. So I got Notre Dame and Penn State in the championship. Now, if what it looks like is they'll be playing at home, Notre Dame will be out away. And playing in Penn State is a nightmare. It's like playing in Arrowhead Stadium, basically. I'm going to give it to Penn State there. I'm going to give it to no, screw it. We're giving it to Notre Dame. As long as they get to Drew Allar, as long as they get to the quarterback, as long as they pressure him, I've noticed that he tends to panic in the pocket, especially when there's pressure around him. As long as they show him a good pressure, like throughout the game, I think Notre Dame will win. But logically speaking, I think Penn State will win. And then on the other side, I got Ohio State beating Tennessee, Texas beating Clemson, Texas then beats Arizona State, and then Oregon demolishes Ohio State, and then Oregon beats Texas. So ultimately what I want it to be is Oregon versus Notre Dame, and Oregon's going to kill Notre Dame. I'm sorry. It's true. But what I think is going to be is Oregon versus Penn State, for sure. Yeah. So that's my prediction. Now, let's talk about it. Travis Hunter, as of, I think, a few hours ago, he is now the Heisman Trophy winner. Who did I want to win? Ashton Jeanty, just because of the fact that he really led that Boise State team to a college football playoff, and I don't even know how long. I mean, it's been forever. So I think he deserved it. But Travis Hunter being a dual threat player, playing both on the O and the D, I mean, of course he was going to win. I knew that was going to happen, but, I had some slight hope that Jeanty was going to win. Amazing for Travis Hunter. I mean, he's, depending on what team is going to go number one, which as of now would be, I think, Jacksonville Jaguars, he's going number one. Now, if a team that needs a quarterback is going to go up there, then it's going to be Schroder. But either way, if a team that doesn't need a quarterback is number one, it's going to take Travis Hunter. So amazing accolade. I mean, that's amazing. Heisman Trophy winner. That's awesome. His speech was awesome too. I saw his speech, and I'm happy for the guy. It's amazing. Now, I saw this Instagram post earlier. I hope I saved it. I think I did. Let's double check. Stand by for just a moment. Saved. Oh, right here. I found it. There we go. So, entered portal due to rejected guarantees. So, college free agent outside, well, yeah, I guess he is a free agent then, isn't he? Outside linebacker Jack Pyburn entered the transfer portal because Florida did not approve of his desired guarantees for the 2025 season. Pyburn reportedly demanded the following: a $45,000 monthly stipend, a guaranteed starting position as an outside linebacker, an assurance of playing on third downs, and increased snaps in the rotation. I'm happy. I'm happy that they did that. I think he definitely should transfer. And it's good that they took a player like that off their team. Because here's the thing. Yes, Pyburn had 60 tackles, 20 solos, a sack, 4 tackle for losses, a forced fumble, and an INT in 12 games for the Gators. That's amazing statistics. But at the end of the day, if they guaranteed him that, just knowing how the kids are nowadays off all his NIL BS and stuff like that, this guy could just sit back, relax, not put his don't go hard at practice, and still be guaranteed his spot in like on the starting roster, and that can ultimately hurt a team. And the fact that he's demanding these things from a college that, again, we talked about this last week, that is, you know, you're supposed to go there to play for them. They don't need you. They don't need you at all. Colleges have a whole bunch of like people that they can accept at any point, but they accepted you first of all, and secondly, you're going to go play for them, so then you can specialize for yourself. There shouldn't be contracts for players to get what they want, is what I'm saying. And I'm happy that he's transferring. Yes, they're going to lose a good player, but at the end of the day, that's a cancer that you're also losing. So I think my honest opinion is, yes, let this guy go. And it's good that they're letting this guy go. Like, it's good he's entering the transfer portal because he's just a drama queen. And, I mean, yes, he's a great player, but at the same time, just because you're a great player doesn't mean you're going to get a guaranteed spot on the roster. Like, in the NFL, when you go to the NFL, your job is always up for grabs. Brock Purdy, for example, the first 2 quarterbacks get freaking injured. This guy goes in and he takes the quarterback position, and he was Mr. Irrelevant. Last pick of the NFL draft. He was supposed to be god awful, probably, bouncing off practice squads. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, just because he didn't get what he wanted and now he's entering the transfer portal, I think that's the most BS move ever. Because in the NFL, it doesn't work like that. Your job will get taken in a minute. In a minute. And I hate the fact that, NIL has killed this mindset for players. So, yeah, there's that. But other than that, oh yeah, Dennis Schroder being traded to Golden State. I thought that was an amazing, 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 amazing deal. Golden State just added a playmaker for Steph Curry on the side. I think that's amazing. Dennis Schroder the last few years has been bouncing off teams. This guy's old. I thought that at this point he should just retire. But in Brooklyn, this guy was an absolute fiend. I mean, his resurgence went hard. This dude is averaging 18.4 points a game in 33 minutes, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. So this guy can clearly play make. He's a great player. For a guy of his age, how old is he? I'm pretty sure he's in his 30s. Let's see. He's definitely a vet in the league. Age. I'm pretty sure he's pretty old. He's 31 years old. He's a vet in the league, right? And the last couple of years, he's totally sucked because he just hasn't found his role. And then he goes to Brooklyn, actually plays better. And dude, what was this? Literally 2 games ago, he had 34 points and 11 assists. So this guy can clearly play make. He's had double-digit assist games, and that's amazing for Golden State. Amazing. Pairing him up with Steph Curry at the 1 and the 2 is going to be awesome because not only does that take the load off of Steph Curry to play make, so now he can score more, and it just takes the workload off of him. You got a dominant playmaker. This guy is a good playmaker. I mean, his stats have to show that. So at the end of the day, I hope they do is he could be good both sides. Shout out to my boy Blake Tapper. He brought a very good suggestion also. He also talked about how, maybe it might be good for him to come off the bench because if he's the leader of the bench, then he can do his own thing and facilitate the floor. I think that's awesome. That's also a good idea. But what I'm saying is he's played hard. He deserved that starting spot. So what I'm saying is you really can't go wrong with this guy. You can start him, and he can score, he can play make, ease the load off Steph, or you can have him come off the bench and, lead that bench group to do good things. It just depends on what the Warriors want. My opinion, my personal opinion, I think stardom because Buddy Hield has kind of fallen off, kind of went up and then down very quickly, and it might be best to bench him, start Dennis Schroder, so then the starting guys can Steph doesn't have to do too much. But also, I mean, benching, having him come off the bench would also be good. I just feel like it would be a waste of talent, kind of thing. I feel like he's kind of worked a little too hard, especially considering the last couple of years have been very rocky for him. I feel like he's worked a little too hard to come off the bench. But hey, that's up to Golden State. But I think you can't really you can't really go wrong with with whether or not he comes off the bench or in the starting lineup. And this adds more depth to the point guard position for the Golden State Warriors. And man, they're looking for like a finals caliber team right now. I mean, it's amazing. They have they did kind of drop in the rankings a little bit. They kind of hit a soft spot, but having that playmaker in Dennis Schroeder should hopefully boost them up there. Um, OKC, man, leading the pack 20-5. Even without Chet, they're playing at a dominant level. Um, Warriors are at currently 14-10, fifth seed, still not bad. Still not bad at all. And as long as they turn it around towards the end of the season when it matters, that's that's gonna help them a lot. So yeah. And as for me, I mean I'm a big Bulls fan as you can see the hat. 11-15. Man, it's a rebuild season. I hope they get rid of Billy Donovan. I don't think he's that good of a coach. Modest Buzelis has shown a little bit of, fireworks, a little spark in him. I saw, where he's scoring 20 points in I don't even know, like 22 minutes, which is amazing. And I feel like they need to incorporate Talon Horton Tucker a little bit more off the bench because that dude has been scoring. Like, I've seen a few games where that dude scored 20 points in like 18 minutes. That's absolutely amazing. And I feel like they need to incorporate him more into the offense. He's a guy who he can't really shoot that well, but he can play make. He can score towards the basket. I mean, if you look at the guy's frame, he's a tough, tough dude. And Matas Buzelis, I think his upstock is going to skyrocket pretty soon, and I really hope that he gets put in the starting lineup. I think he should be put in the starting lineup now, and he should get starter minutes because Patrick Williams has proven time and time and again that A, that extension was plain BS. I don't know why they signed him to that extension, and B, that he's just not a reliable guy at all. The Bulls are hoping so incredibly badly that Patrick Williams has the upstack that they expected 4 years ago, but that's not going to happen. And at the end of the day, we're wasting money on that guy, and we could be using that money towards better shooters, considering the Hornets and um, Bulls had put up the most threes missed in a single game, 75. Put more shooters, put more playmakers, stuff like that. And they're just spending money on a guy who's been injured for the last 2 years. Like, why? So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of work have to be done with a lot of the Chicago teams. The Blackhawks suck, the Bears suck, White Sox even suck harder, Bulls suck, and damn, Cubs getting Kyle Tucker, Mets getting Juan Soto for the rest of his life. $760 million. I don't know how the MLB is able to put that much numbers up, but I mean, yeah, absolutely insane. But as for that, I think that calls it an episode. Right now is 11:43 p.m. So I hope that I can get this edited, ready to go for you guys by 10 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. But as for that, let me know what y'all think about my takes. I'd like to take upon your stuff. I'd like to get my thoughts and reactions on the takes you guys have. Um, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, calling it an episode. Y'all have a good night. Stay warm. It's getting cold out there. And I'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace out.